Breaking news: Buffalo Bills hire Joe Brady as their new head coach. Joe Brady is hired as their new head coach. Here to break it down for the Sports News Review is yours truly, and we brought in Ketchup, co-host of NFL Watch Party with the Munchie Brothers, and a volunteer Blue Ribbon panelist on Talking Bills X and O's. Now we'll look into Joe Brady. What we'll do is, well, catch up. We'll see if Wikipedia page has updated their Wikipedia page, but we went before we announced it on our program. We checked with the BuffaloBills.com, and it is on the BuffaloBills.com that the Buffalo Bills hire Joe Brady as head coach. They mentioned that they agreed to terms, so we just break down as hired as Joe. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put Joe Brady, and that comes up quick now. And let's see overview. Okay, now they're saying Joe Brady's an American football. Okay, I'll just go straight to the Wikipedia page here, and let's see. Joe Brady, born September 23rd, 1989. And it's American, they call it American professional football coach, who is the head coach now. Okay, they've updated it, of the National Football League Buffalo Bills. So they're saying that he's served, the history of it is that served as offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers 2020 to 2021. He was the passing game corner and wide receiver coach for the LSU Tigers during the 2019 season, and he won the Boyles Award for the best assistant coach in college football. And he was a offensive assistant in the New Orleans Saints from 2017 to 2018. Now it's they're looking at Joe Brady, Buffalo Bills title is the head coach. Let's see. Well, they started with the New Orleans Saints 2017, 2018, LSU, Carolina Panthers, and now the Buffalo Bills from 2022 to 2023 is the quarterbacks coach. The Buffalo Bills in 2023 is the interim offensive coordinator, and then in 2024 to 2025 the Bills offensive coordinator, and now present the Buffalo Bills 2026 to present head coach. Oh, righty. Okay, so now we're just going to introduce Ketchup here, and well, we'll just go. The Ketchup did the X and O show, and Ketchup, I'll bring up your quote and what was said about the coaching process, because on the show, Sylvester asked, that's our A Sports reporter Sylvester asked our last panelist, that's the third panelist, Ketchup, Munchie, say, let's look, see, okay, like okay, so that was the last question he asked you, and that was, uh, Sylvester said, and this is the quotes: Ketchup, with it being noon on Sunday as we're recording the show, what's your opinion on the new coach search process? Well, new head coach search process, I should have said. That's what's written down. Okay, or did he say that in the shirt? But anyways, Ketchup was, yeah, you were hoping for Miami Dolphins head coach was going to be hired. I agree with that too. I agree with that statement. At the time, before Mike McDaniel was said, no, I don't, whatever, we don't know why, we absolutely do not know why. I really don't think that I don't I really don't think that uh Mike McDaniel will divulge the information. Maybe when his when the football career and in the NFL, his football career is over, there's still books out there, I guess, electronic books, I would guess, catch up. I mean, well, one day, well, Sports News Review will do the ketchup munchie story and an ebook on the ketchup munchie story. All the staff actually it'll be like a ebook free ebook on Sports News Review staff who the sport. How about the whole? I just thought of it now. I'm gonna bring it up with bring it up with CEOB Bunny, the story of Sports News Review. We'll do that later, but right now, what we're trying to say is that I totally don't. There was okay. Now we've been both Ketchup and I. We've been listening to WGR AM 550. You can catch it. Usually, you can catch it if you're not in the WGR AM 550 area, or not even like put an antenna outside the apartment or house or whatever you want the cave wherever someone's residence is. Okay, so what we're trying to say is that if can't you cannot receive AM 550 the old-fashioned way of listening to what the kids go, what is that thing? Oh, we call it a radio back in the day. And of course, AM radio is, oh, yikes. You cannot get kids to listen to AM radio at all. I mean, we're talking like the episode of The Simpsons the episode where he tried to introduce 70s rock bands to the kids, and they were interested in the 90s grunge at the time, and that would be just like the same thing with anything with AM radio. They're like, yikes. Okay, so but we still like sports talk radio AM, and we're just happy that we can catch AM 550 because it's a wide range in Ontario. You can as Sports News Review is based in Ontario, and Ontario, Canada, and yeah, we do catch AM 550. So we were both listening to AM 550, and being that it's noon, they usually have a show that's about hockey, the Buffalo Sabres hockey. But all of a sudden, Ketchup and I are looking at each other because the music came on, and it was the 1 o'clock theme song for the football when they do the football. I'm thinking, but I'm going to catch. I was thinking saying to Ketchup. Uh, well, that's different. I mean, that's usually the 1 o'clock time slot. Then maybe it's weather related. The crew from the I forget the name of Sabres talk for it's 1 hour. Talk about the Buffalo Sabres Monday to Friday for 1 hour. Except when it's on football season or if the playoffs. Then there's football Monday where they kind of just talk Buffalo Bills from 6 in the morning till 8. It could be past. There's so many. There's three. So yes, I mean, so we're like, oh, okay, and then the announcer comes on, and was it Steve Tasker? I'm not sure, but he says, "Oh, okay. Usually, I know you're expecting to hear the name of the show. I can't remember offhand what the name of the show is. Catch up right now, but most folks would be saying, "Yeah, what's going on? Is it the weather related right now, or something like that?" No, no, just breaking news. They said that Joe Brady is hired as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, and okay, I was like, "Oh, okay." So we didn't plan like Ketchup and I were like, "Oh, okay, we're listening and listening," and it was good that we listened because I don't know. There was a lot of negativity towards Joe Brady on AM 550. There was quite a bit of negativity on AM 550, and what I'm trying to get is that although both Ketchup and I were both in sync on that one, where like when Ketchup said on the X, well, we're getting this courtesy of the X and O show. I could even did it's our channel. We could do the video, we could show the video and audio, but we'll just do the transcript of it because it's a lot easier. Like we're doing this show quick. Yes, and we didn't yeah, sorry, catch up, forgot to mention that how we started how we started the show on the on ours is that we waited till the buffalobills.com official web page put it on theirs, and as soon as buffalobills.com put it on that Joe Brady agreed to terms, then I said to Ketchup, okay, well, let's get CEO B Bunny's ear. No, not just figuratively. Let's just knock on. Okay, let's just use a very good expression. On Sports News Review, we don't use animal references. We try not to, but I am old, and and we are doing this non-scripted. So eventually, sometimes I use old references I don't like anymore. I totally disagree with. So what I'm trying to I should have said was that we knocked on the door of CEO B Bunny, and we said, could we do a quick emergency breaking news that the Buffalo Bills have hired Joe Brady? And CEO B Bunny gave us his blessing, said, sure, go ahead. So we had to scramble, listening while we're listening, while I'm putting the set together because we were set up for the X and O show. And well, we had to get lucky. I had the extra board here available, so it's really very quick and easy. I didn't have to. Oh, I didn't have to. Luckily, I say luckily, I catch up. I didn't have to write out a board because it would take a lot longer. Still be coloring it in right now. And what I'm trying, well, what we did like, and then we came on the show, and but before the show we started, we were listening to AM 550, and we can't put obviously I could have grabbed yes, I can do that now. I can put headphones on and listen to AM 550, but I'll do that in a sec. I'll do that in a bit. But what I want to do is state our position. That's Ketchup and I, not Sports News Review's position. Sports News Review is neutral on this. This is the opinions of Ketchup and I. That's Ketchup Munchie and yours truly. Where this is just our opinions, and I just want to just read this transcript to make clear on our positions. Well, of course, I agree with Ketchup on it totally. So you asked the question. So well, I'll do it again. Where Ketchup was. Let's see. Ketchup was asked by Sylvester if it was, what's your opinion on the new coach search process. I think I should have put down head coach too. Okay. So Ketchup, I'll read Ketchup's quote once again. I was really hoping that former Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel was going to be hired. But now I just learned that Mike McDaniel has canceled his interview with the Buffalo Bills. And then I agree with Philip Rivers. You don't have a comment on Philip Rivers because there's so much negative feedback on that one. And then you just had two reservations on Brian Dable, which I would have too. Is is he gonna when it comes to adversity, and it was quarterback is Jackson Dart? Is that if I remember correctly? Catch up his name, and it was just what was that all about? It was something that just I just couldn't. We Ketchup and I were watching the game, and we were back and forth, and with Coach Coyote, we're all going why isn't he why isn't he concerned about his health in the sense just the game is on. It's not like he's abandoning his player if he just there is a game on. This is a show. I mean, networks pay a lot of money. Then and you got, and then you got, and it's not like you're abandoned. To me personally, I'm saying Ketchup is that I felt say that you're not. It's not like you don't care about your quarterback. It's that there's a process. And we said that, and that possibly that incident could not well. Then I don't know if it costed his job. It was more like it just was one of those embarrassing moments because the owners are the Mara family. Is it, if I remember correctly? It started with back in my day, Wellington Mara, and I mean, it's just that that's something that uh yeah, I mean, how do you explain to someone like Brian Dable you really got to keep your emotions in check because you are the head coach. Everybody looks to the head coach, and if the head coach is overreacting, then everyone is going to overreact. The head coach has to be the one on the sideline going, "Hey, let's just calm down here. We have a game going." I mean, the NFL has a process, and they're not going to like let someone you know like there's going to be how do you say like how do you say like a repercussions if anyone purposely hurts another player. So like I understand, I mean, but the concussion thing was the NFL has went through a lot when it came to this concussion protocol. They went through a lot before all this. Okay, I mean, Ketchup, Ketchup and I go back a long time. I mean, I've known Ketchup since 1981, 82 ish, like that. But I'm just saying that. I mean, I go back a long time as a Buffalo Bills fan. Now, obviously I started this is me personally, not Sports News Review. I know I'm the founder of Sports News Review. I start Sports News Review. I'm the voice of Sports News Review. uh Ultimately, I'm responsible for all the content on Sports News Review. I just want to just do a program to entertain. I'm elderly, and uh it just helps me because I live, you know, in my, as you could say, like a young person. I live in my bedroom. I have my own, and when you see, and you could see where my hand is. This right here. This is on a fridge. I got a mini fridge, so I don't always go in and out of my room when I want something. Try to you have a roommate, you want to, like I said it before, and I didn't have the room in my bedroom to do a full size studio, so I started with the foot of my bed. You can watch the first video, what this channel is all about, and I just wanted to pass the time away, and it kept me busy, and to watch uh, to watch the recorded program over, so I know that I'm still how do you say, cognitive, is that you call it. Like, yeah, when I watch these videos over and over, I just want to make sure that I'm cognitive. I make mistakes. I even though they're let's get reality here. I totally know I'm talking as if these puppets are real, or plush toys, whatever you want to call 'em. And like, it's not like I'm offending Ketchup here. He doesn't exist. He's just a plush toy from way back in the day that I've had for years, and I pretended to find his brother, and the salt and vinegar I found at a garage sale years ago. We're talking, so many years ago. I found salt and vinegar is the yellow one. It had a rip in its neck, and I still want it. And there's shot. I came late to the garage sale. Nope, everybody. It's kind of like that's kind of like how Josh Allen was passed over for so many colleges. So many people passed over salt and vinegar. I was so glad to, like, they were so shocked that I bought salt and vinegar so fast. They go, "Oh, you must know what this is." Then I go, "Yes." I jokingly said, that's where it all started with the brother thing. I jokingly said to the person, "Yeah, I got his brother. It's the red one, the Red Goblin of the Hostess Munches series," and then I was like, uh I can't really use the salt vinegar. That neck is getting worse and worse. Is getting a little worse. It's ripping. It's ripping bad. So I was someone was kind enough for my birthday, um, or just as we gave me months later. So it's kind of funny how I got barbecue months later. It was a post birthday gift, and uh, I opened I got the box. I'm like, before I even had barbecue, I that's the Orange Goblin. I call him the co-host of it's going to be the co-host of the watch party with NFL watch party with the Munchie brothers. Okay, so for those that never seen barbecue, you could see a little orange. You could see I guess you could see an orange ear. That's a photo behind that big TV. That TV was smaller earlier. Then I inherited a bigger television for the monitor, just for my monitor when I'm not watching the big TV. So what I'm trying to say is that I got so then uh the person says, here's a post a birthday gift. I go, oh, thank you. I didn't know what he goes, oh, you're gonna use it a lot. I go, oh, okay, I appreciate thank you very much. And then as soon as I opened the box, I go, barbecue. And I'm like, wow, I already named them barbecue immediately because I knew, even I pretended that they're brothers and all that. So what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, I mean, if people come on the show, they see all these puppets and they're like, what's with the puppets? Because look, here's all the room I have to do a studio. Look, right here's my hand for scale. Okay. Like you look from this white to the wall right there. This is a whiteboard with this I've had since 2000 something. I bought it at a dollar store. This was just to cover up some CB radios I had laying around. And I just tightened it right up against this whiteboard and I used it as a backdrop. It came later. So yeah, it's just like I said, and now uh, I I'm I'm just saying that like that because I there was a lot of negative comments about Joe Brady being hired as head coach. Now, I just want to say this again. I'll finish it off. Now I'll go back to the silliness of pretending that Ketchup is my co-host, and I just want to point it out that I am elderly, but I'm not. I'm not thinking that Ketchup exists as a real entity. You know what I'm saying? I'm just joking around. I just joke around a lot because I have no other way to do a studio. It's so small. So I want to get back to the fun of pretending that Ketchup is a real co-host here. Okay, so uh, here's Ketchup's response on that, and it was, I was really hoping. Well, of course, I wrote this. Everybody, like, let's get real. Okay, I was really hoping that former Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel was going to be hired, but now I just learned that Mike McDaniel has canceled the interview with the Buffalo Bills, and that, like I said, both. I'll pretend it's Ketchup for real. Okay, both Ketchup and I agreed on that. Now, what we're trying to say is that, I heard all the negative comments towards Mike McDaniel. Ketchup. I'm going to make sure that I've made so many mistakes. You know what I'm going to make sure is I'm going to make sure I'm going to put the former Miami Dolphins head coaches. I'll just get just. Uh, Well, you look at it. Okay, Don Shula from 1970 to 1995. I remember Don Shula. I don't remember Don Shula as the Super Bowl winning. No, Super Bowl. He lost the Super Bowl when he was with the Baltimore Colts. That I don't remember. That was just that one's fuzzy memory. But I remember Don Shula, 1970 to, and I still kept 1995. Don Shula, back in my day, he was always there for me. Like, as a, he was there. It was such a long time. And then they went to Jimmy Johnson, 1996 to 1997. I 999. Sorry, I totally forgot about that. I forgot the Jimmy Johnson. Dave Wannstedt. I remember the Dave Wannstedt didn't work out. Nick Saban, for whatever reason, didn't work. And Mike McDaniel. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I just want to make sure that I'm always going, yikes, if I got the name wrong, I would have to start this video over because that way nobody hears my big blunder. But yeah, I knew it was Mike McDaniel. So we'll get back to what we were saying earlier. Now, there was a lot of negativity towards Mike McDaniel, but at the time, I'm going, well, you're out, your best candidate to do a second interview in other words, if they hired, I would be like, oh, okay, if you hired, like he was wanting to be, that would have been his first interview, and I'm like, yeah, I'm on board with Mike McDaniel and the sideline, but you know, the amount of negativity towards Mike McDaniel. And I guess he felt it. Let's not kid ourselves here. How easy is it to go on YouTube and check out the sports radio AM 550? Because a team, a city that has an NFL team may have a radio station, AM or FM. In some cities, it's some cities it could be both AM and FM. In Buffalo, I guess you can catch it on the FM with the HD radio, which the concept of HD radio I don't have in my vehicles, or I don't have a vehicle right now actually. So, but I have access to a vehicle and when I need one. But yeah, the radio the vehicle does not have HD radio, but I do get to listen to AM 550, and of course at home AM 550 or apartment I should say, I listen to AM 550. Very tall, very tall, high, and so of course, I could put the AM radio around the windowsill, and yeah, I mean, with AM signals goes far, stretches far, and I'm above I'm above a lot of things around me. Like I'm the top of the heap, as I say, top of the heap, eh? And yeah, I mean, so that's how I catch the AM 550, it's a radio signal. So it's easy for me to catch the radio signal, AM 550. And the car catches it too. Even when I'm moving out and about, it seems to catch it fine. But so what I'm trying to say is that, uh, it's how much of that Mike, like, is Mike McDaniel ever going to admit that he was listening to AM 550? No. But was he, in my opinion? Oh, possibly. How hard is it not to listen to it? Like, if I'm going to be a head coach in Cleveland and they got a radio station, a call-in radio station, and the callers are like, "Oh, we don't like this Coach XYZ or Coach ABC," we don't like this coach. There's caller after caller against that, and I've heard. I mean, like how easy is it to There's Odyssey, what they call Odyssey, and that's the thing. I don't think I'm allowed. I don't think we can do Odyssey in Canada. It's complicated why we can't do. I never tested anymore, but if I didn't, I would. If I didn't have if I say I couldn't catch AM 550, I don't know how I would have found it in the first place, the shows, the radio programs, but yeah, if I did hear about it, I would then I would just try to listen to it on YouTube. I would be listening to it on YouTube when they do the live streams. But the point being is this, that yeah, I mean, that Mike McDaniel probably heard all the negativity. It's like, like, does he? see, like if things don't go well, and it can happen, and I'll admit that, like, I'd have to admit that, like, yikes, I like Mike McDaniel. I don't know what went wrong here. If it's going like, say 5-4, 5 wins, 4 losses on the season so far in 9 games. I mean, and it's say it's 5 wins in a row and then 4 losses in a row. And then the 10th game, there's a home game, and they're in Buffalo, or even, well, the Buffalo Bills have a good crew, as they call it, to a good fan base that will travel with the team. And if they're close, if the game was, I don't know what the schedule's like, but just making things up arbitrarily right now, just to continue on with the program. And if, like, if there was like a game like in the Cleveland area or the Detroit area, because it's really close to Buffalo to travel. So that would be guaranteed that there could be fans, lots of fans from the Buffalo area. And if it's not going well, even on a road game, at the end of the game, he would hear fire. Fire Fire McDaniels, or I don't think there's an S. Fire McDaniel, fire, and it's like, that's probably like, I don't need that. I mean, to me, it's like, I don't blame him to, just like, if you're gonna, like, if you, I like I said earlier, is that, does Mike McDaniel listen to AM 550 in Buffalo and hear all the negative response towards a Mike McDaniel possibility of being interviewed? And there was caller after caller, and that would be like against Mike McDaniel hire, and they go, and the first thing they would say is, well, we won against Mike McDaniel a lot. And, and but then again, I'd be like, I would almost feel like calling in and saying, which I'm not going to, because it's just not worth it. It isn't worth it. It's like, I'm not giving my name, and if they allow me to call in, can I use a fake name and change my voice? I mean, I really don't want to be held accountable. But now that I do sports news review, I got an outlet now. I don't need to call in a radio show. I have my own outlet now. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that, like, I would be like, yeah, I guess it didn't work out. This and that. But I know there's a new stadium coming, and they don't want people to, like, oh, why did you hire Mike McDaniel? And, like, we don't feel like we're not, they don't feel like going to Bills. It's the thing you don't want to hear is fans not feel like, Buffalo fans don't feel like going to Bills game based on a hiring of a coach. Okay, it's like, that's just gonna be too much. It's like, okay. So what I bring back is that, like, so we don't know. We're gonna say it one more time. It was, before we move on with this. The Mike McDaniel non-decision, because he didn't even want an interview, not a first interview, because I think there's two. They're gonna have a first interview and a second interview, so he didn't even want to bother with the first interview, and he signs with the almost said San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers. So he signs. I got a sidebar here again. Is that, like, uh my first introduction is, to which team to like, and that was the San Diego Chargers with the Don Air Coryell, the Don Felts, and the Kellen Wislows, Jeffersons, not Justin Jefferson. I don't know if there's any relation to that Jefferson, back in the receiver back in San Diego days. I'm not sure if there's any relations, but yeah, I mean, we go back to, of course, running back Chuck Muncie with the iconic glasses he would wear. So, and then life was changing for me. I I was like, all of a sudden, there's Jim Kelly going to the Buffalo Bills, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm hearing kooky stuff here. Like there was a weird person that was on AM 550. I, I don't know if it was that time the coach called himself the coach. That's where I got the coach thing. The coach, Coach Coyote. That's where I got my reference for the coach. The coach. The coach. I don't know if it was that time or later he was on the show. There was also someone that would criticize a lot of things and all that, but it didn't matter. But I started listening to that AM 550 and listening and knowing that I can't remember exactly. It's such a long time ago because that was 1986. And Jim Kelly in 1986, I decided to go, um, you know what? I got a different life now. I'm not in the, I've been out of school for a while, like because in school I had more. I had all the. I had all. n- I know. I know. Even in high school, I was. I was. Yeah, I was such a. I was such a San Diego Charger fan. I had a picture of Dan Fouts on my locker. And one time this one time this custodian goes to me, "Hey, how come you don't have a girl? Why do you have a guy?" I go, "That's Dan Foltz." Why do I need it? It's just like I wasn't that kind of person. Like it's so like it's. I'm glad I was never that kind of person. That like why do I need to put someone? I was just like I don't know. I I I didn't think it was weird to put Dan Fouts on your locker. I mean, like, it's just I don't know. I didn't care. I was just, but that's what I mean. Like I was right into the San Diego Chargers, and back in those days, I even had to buy magazines to get my info on the San Diego Chargers. Magazines. I still remember that magazine I bought where I got a lot of pictures out of with this the sporting news and yeah, I mean, and the quarterback Brian Sipe was on the cover, and he was being grabbed. I don't know what they did it on purpose or whatever, but Brian Sipe was being grabbed by, I'd say, the waist, almost the waist and jock area, and it's like he's being sacked, and they show that picture of that. Okay, it's like okay, but I read all the prospects in that one in '86. And they show this weird photo of Joe Montana of all people, and he's in this. And you gotta remember, I'm reading this as a young person, and I didn't at the time. You don't know. It was like San Francisco was different. I was like, all right, and then later on. Then Joe Montana successful, and then could catch. This is pre-catch days. This is long. This is before the catch, and the Super Bowl wins. So I was, yeah. I mean, then of course going back to later on in life, and trying to establish myself in this world, and just a young person, everyday things, doing and all that, and NFL football wasn't like the super passion I had. Like I loved NFL football all the time, and I used to watch CFL football on CBC, the Friday Night Football on CBC, and Hamilton Tiger Cats, of course, because it's easy to go see Hamilton Tiger Cats game. Now I'm not able to physically go to Hamilton Tiger Cats. I'm so disappointed that I can't go to Hamilton Tiger Cat games. Go see them live in person. I just so disappointed I can't do it. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, yeah, in '86, I just go. I know Jim Kelly. I know Jim Kelly from back when he was playing with the Miami Hurricanes, and I know the history of Jim Kelly, of Penn State. Like, I mean, Joe Paterno wanted him to be one of Joe Paterno had a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he wanted to make him into a linebacker. And you're telling me that Joe Paterno still had a job years later after that? That was college football back then. It was like tenure, like coaches were like tenured. They're not like today's world where coaches are released, paid big money, and as they say in the movies, the kind of Spanish in the movies, vamos, you know what I mean? Um, like for cowboy movies, they always like to use. I think when I remember as young, they're watching cowboy movies. They think they use the word "vamoose." Yeah, I mean nowadays, yeah, coaches get are a lot told to you no longer work for our organization. Thank you for everything. But back in Joe Paterno's day, and like I mean like like let's be realistic here. How long could Joe Paterno lasted when he? By the way, like let's just say like years later, there's Jim Kelly in the Super Bowl. Like we're talking in 1990, and in today's world, mm, I think the I think the coaching like the brass of the university now they didn't have like in those days they didn't have like the top of sports, the head of the sports department for football. Joe Paterno is probably calling all the, as they call it, the shots, for all I know. And he wouldn't have lasted. I mean, do I think Joe Paterno was a good coach? Yeah, he was a good coach. I could say that. But yeah, he really, really missed on Jim Kelly big time. And like I said, Jim Kelly went to Miami, then, the USFL, and then the Buffalo Bills, and Hall of Fame next. So that's, of course, 86. I even watched this news thing. Can't remember where it was on. It was on, but I remember seeing Jim Kelly coming off the plane and he threw a football to someone. We were funnier back. We were a lot funnier as a society back then. But yeah, there's Jim Kelly on the tarmac throwing a football. I guess he just wanted to say I'm here. So he came back to Buffalo because he was drafted. He left for the USFL. Buffalo wasn't bad. Now I'm like all of a sudden I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. So oh my gosh, it's going to be 40 years. September will be the 40th year that I will be a Buffalo Bills fan. That's me personally, not Sports News Review, because Sports News Review is just a YouTube channel that they started here a few years ago. So yeah, I've been through it all. So most people would say they went through the drought. I've been through the heartbreak. 80, it was in 89 with the oh yeah, when I remember watching the game against Cleveland. When my memory is getting fuzzy because I'm older, but I remember watching that game against Cleveland where I forgot his name. I totally forgot his name. Riddick? No, Rob Riddick was a fullback back in the day. Maybe it was Riddick. I can't remember it now. Just remember, I could still see it. I close my eyes right now and do that. What do they call channeling or some kind of viewing, something like that? Whatever it is, the BS stuff I don't believe in. But I could see it right now. That last play. There's the throw in that horrible stadium in Cleveland, the Cleveland Municipal Stadium. That was baseball, football stadium. It was cold out. And there's the throw from Jim Kelly, and the incomplete pass. And it was like, okay. And then the Cleveland Browns win. And then after that, Buffalo Bills went to the Super Bowl 4 straight years. But yeah, I was a Buffalo Bills fan back then. Now I've been through a lot with the Buffalo Bills. I remember watching Buffalo Bills. I couldn't watch the Buffalo Bills preseason, which is so weird. Like this is pre Jim Kelly days, okay? Pre Jim Kelly days. We're talking like 1980, 81. And I remember still the what I can remember the one game early 80s against the New Orleans Saints, listening to it on the radio. I'm talking this vehicle had an AM radio. It was only AM. I don't remember what station it was on, but I just remember the car, the radio, and listening to the game against the New Orleans Saints of all teams. Oh, because I always thought New Orleans Saints, how do they have a football team? They're such a small city. There's so many bigger cities like San Antonio, Texas, and whatever. Like I think San Antonio is bigger than New York. I mean, there are cities in Texas that are bigger than New Orleans that don't have a football team. And I don't want to look it up right now, but like yeah, because obviously there's two in Texas, which is Dallas and Houston, but they could have a third, I think, over or yeah, because I forgot that yeah, New Orleans Saints went to when they moved for a while to Hurricane Katrina. So yeah, but I don't know. New Orleans Saints was always that team I always wanted to because they're in the NFC. I always wanted them to win. It's just felt like just everything was just sad about that this organization for whatever reason. And I still remember watching back in the day. CBS had the was it CBS that had the yeah CBS had the NFC and watching the owner at the time with the umbrella. I didn't really get that. We didn't have the internet also, but when they won the game, I think they won their playoff game, if I remember correctly. Like I got this is back a long time ago. He walked around with an umbrella, and there's something to it. I don't want to look it up right now. It takes up too much time, but yeah, and it's so irrelevant to what's going on at this program right now. But yeah, so I've been through a lot through the Buffalo Bills uh organize like as a fan, and so like I mean, I just I heard so much negative comments towards Mike Daniel, and then so then I obviously I stated how Brian Dable, like, well, I would have, I was, I even, well, I did put down that uh, but if Brian Dable is hired, I'm not against his X and O's ability based on the success with Josh Allen. See, I said that I pretended on the X and O's program, and Ketchup was the one saying it, and I said like I'm not against, and I honestly, if Brian Dable would have been hired, I would have said okay, okay, they hired Brian Dable. It's good. It seems like a good choice. I trust the process. But there's got to be something he's got to do. Is he's got to, because Josh Allen will be his new quarterback, and like if Josh Allen is hurt, and if it looks like a player, uh, if a player like if it just has the look that a player did something extra, will he jump on the field and start, like because he knows. Because Brian Dable knows, like, of obviously, we all know that if Josh Allen is hurt, Brian Dable is not gonna. It's like as if once again, would he have cared about Josh Allen, the player? Oh my gosh, I never thought of that. I just thought of it now. Ketchup. What I'm trying to say, Ketchup, is that I didn't subconsciously. I probably thought of this and bringing it out is that I wondered if in the process of hiring a new head coach, that Josh Allen might have said, he didn't care. He didn't care about Jackson Dart's health, his long term health. I mean, he was out of the playoffs, and no excuse if he. And I said that earlier in the X and O's quote. I said it's like even if he was like, oh, if you win this, the if you win this game, New York Giants are guaranteed a playoff spot. But it's like, yeah, but what about Jackson Dart's long term health? Because there's going to be a game next week. So I mean, it's just like that is that who knows? Hey, I just thought of it now with people were wondering about because obviously it seems like a good candidate. I mean, things didn't go well in New York. Uh, we don't know. We'll wait till once again when Daniel Jones retires from football and is not maybe if he's not coaching, we'll find out earlier is like what happened there. Because to me, Daniel Jones seems like a very quiet, reserved person, and he went through a lot because he replaced Eli Manning. That's not an easy task to do, to replace Eli Manning like that. Eli Manning was, was told, oh, sorry, we're moving on, and we got Daniel Jones now. We're gonna promote the starting quarterback, and I mean, it wasn't easy for Daniel Jones. Like he is a human being, and people would say, well, well, what's the big deal? Don't you have to have confidence in yourself? Yes, he does. Yes, he does have confidence in himself, but he also has a conscience of like he doesn't want to. This is me personally thinking of the way his personality is. Like, he doesn't want to just be like, "Oh, I'm Daniel Jones and you're not." You know what I mean? Like, no, he replaced Eli Manning, and it's like, whoa, Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Who am I? He's got to think, who am I to just go out there and and look pretentious? Like So of course, and what happened? Did he go into a shell shock with the way Brian Dable was emotional outbursts? That probably would have went into interview process also. Like, what happened with Joe? Why did it all go wrong with Daniel Jones? It seemed so promising, and then all of a sudden it went bad again. So, I mean, Brian Dable revived his career, and we don't know what happened after that. So we just don't know. We have to wait till they write their own memoirs. That in the future will be all ebooks. There won't be and if you really want a hard copy book, you'll have to. You'll have to use recycle. Make sure that the book company uses recycled paper, ink that's no, because we're in a different world now. We're not in the 50s 60s. You can just it's like, is it really worth printing out all these books that nobody's gonna read when you got the internet? You got you could just buy it electronically, download the book and pay 30 cents and download the book versus paying 10, 15. Who knows what it's going to cost in the future to buy a book? Just, anyways, that's neither here nor there. But the point being is, so that was in the process, possibly. Now, and then I wrote this pretending that Ketchup said it. Okay, that I give. Okay, so and as far as the other candidates, that's including Joel Brady. I give them all the same opinion in that I will trust the process of the selection and hope for a successful career. And that's what I'm doing right now. There's no need for people to say to them, like in the future, oh, you like Joe Brady. Did I like Joe Brady? No, I said that for any candidate. If they would have hired any candidate, remember, this is like, and now I'm going to say it once again, because people can go on the X and O show. It's called Talking Bills X and O's, part of the Sports News Review YouTube channel programs. Go towards the end of the program. It's right there. I said it. The date's right there. Uh, when the video was uploaded. I'm just reading my transcript. This is an old phone that I wrote. I can't see it now. It's just too bright. Okay, but you get the picture that I'm reading my like I'm reading the transcript I wrote. Verifiable proof. Here it is. Okay, you can see now. See, there it is. Okay, the date on this too. This is stamped when I wrote the script for the show. Okay, so now that's what I said. Now I'll read it one more time, make sure. And now for the other candidates, and that's including Joel Brady. I'm stressing that. I give them all the same opinion in that. I will trust the process of the selection and hope for a successful career because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan at heart. Sports News Review is supposed to be neutral. I I have a I do I try to draw a fine line between what is Sports News Review and how to be a cheering section for the Buffalo Bills. And well, I justify it by, of course, there's other programs we have on Sports News Review, and one of them is to be totally different. Of course, is the World Sports News with Ernie program. So Sports News. So you got to remember, I started with the name Sports News Review because I was going to do sports news review in general, and it didn't just like I knew I was good. I knew I liked the NFL, but at the time it's like, how do you do NFL all year? Do and then, of course I want CFL, and then I got and of course because of the time I started the YouTube channel. My first introduction was the UFL, and I decided that, like, I don't know, it just this all of a sudden I decided to use ketchup and the puppet I call ketchup and puppet I call salt and vinegar to to be doing what I said, pretending the live stream for the UFL. Because of that, I then and the CFL came next. Hamilton Tiger Cats. Now, when it comes to the UFL, I didn't care. I just did whatever team. I didn't pick a team with the UFL. So that's probably the only live stream watch party that I'm totally neutral. I'm just watching the game. Sorry, it was the XFL. Yes, I started. I started live streaming football games with the XFL. I loved it. It worked out pretty good. I, I loved seeing the Seattle Sea Dragons. I know there wasn't many people in the stadium, but I loved everything about the XFL. Um, it was what I can say is that so yeah, I watched the XFL, and then it became the UFL with the merger with the USFL. The reincarnation of the USFL became the merger. USFL, UFL together, and then CFL because Hamilton Tiger Cats, and then then Buffalo Bills, and yeah, I mean we go full circle, and I'm just saying that like well, I mean I just want to state the case that like Joe Brady was hired as head coach. There was a process, and I even said it earlier that the part of the healing process for Josh Allen. I I mean, yeah, you could go anybody go on X and O's. And my hope it's the last question for ketchup, quote unquote. And it's about the process for coach and then previously I said pretending that uh Ketchup was former quarterback of the Plush Toy Football League, and what can you do to console Josh Allen? In reality, I thought, you know what, there isn't anything anybody could say. And I know the owner Terry Pagula was going, that was a catch to him. I was like, he didn't know he was just out of it. And Terry Pagula mentioned it too. He was just out of it. He just like he felt bad for everything, and I mean, I said that there could have been well, I did say there was, he had the burden of, like, on one shoulder that there was the letdown of all the great fans. And I mean it too. I've been to Buffalo Bills games. I mean, good fan. This is, I'm talking like pre Josh Allen days. Josh Allen. My health was going down. I couldn't. I couldn't travel to Buffalo. It's a long drive to get to Buffalo, and then it's a long drive to the stadium, and then to sit down in the stadium seats for that long. And my health was just when Josh Allen came. My health was, and of course we loved Josh Allen from before all that. We fell in love with Josh Allen with of course that was the Senior Bowl. I can't. I mean, what listening to him talk and how he wanted to go back in the game when he risked injury, but he knew he had to show that he has the ability to be an NFL quarterback. So, I mean, like I said, I remember, I still have that vision, of course, of him sitting at the draft and like, and they're saying that Brandon Bean he made a coup, and well, I guess I would say, yeah. I mean, yeah, I was like, yeah. I mean, Brandon Bean made the coup to select Josh Allen. I mean, in the first, it was in the first round, and yeah, I would have gave so many. I mean, I would have gave all my draft picks, whatever it was, just for Josh Allen that year. Because you go, you know what? You got Josh Allen, get Josh Allen, and most folks who said, why would you? It's not just also based on the interview. I'm saying when I'm just envisioning that he's in the preseason games. I'm going, let's watch that arm. Like he's gonna. Let's see that long distance throw. That's like it's becoming so hard to do now in the NFL because of the way the quarter. The fence gets better, and there's only so much offense you can do. It's just the natural progression of how defenses are getting. It's easier to rush a quarterback than to protect the quarterback, and I still gonna make that podcast one more time. If the NFL wants exciting football and not have quarterbacks hurt, they should allow to have two extra players in the backfield that are just passing guards. They can't be involved in the play if it's running a play. They can't be involved in the play if it's a screen pass, but they can only be involved in protecting the quarterback and then protecting the punter and protecting the field goal kicker. That's it. That's all. Two extra players in the backfield, designated with patches, whatever. That they're the passing guards. They're not going to be. They're not allowed to be involved in the running play to block. They're not allowed to go past the scrimmage line to block. In other words, they're only allowed to block to protect the quarterback because it's a changing world, and I've said it in the in that podcast where the yeah, I mean, pass rushers are only getting better, faster, and there's just there's on average, the average game I'm talking about. I'm not talking about one good game, that was like again like how the Los Angeles Rams didn't seem to have trouble, and again, so the Seattle Seahawks didn't seem to have trouble. Yeah, but that's just an anomaly sometimes. I I know, because they're the offensive line are trying a lot harder. And if people, oh my gosh, my leg is numb right now. I can't. We'll have to. I didn't realize that was an hour and 3 minutes. I'm just looking at the timestamp on the video right now. It's an hour and 3 minutes. And okay, so I'll just wrap it up in an hour and 4 minutes, catch up, and then okay. So what I'm trying to, yeah, I'm trying to say that in all this is that I trust the process. This is yours truly, has nothing to do with sports news review. If you're a Bills fan, let's just cheer for Joe Brady. There's I like I said, I'm going to be turning on the AM radio, and right now it's 2:20 in the afternoon, and 3 o'clock is going to have what they call Shope, and well, his name is Chris, but the bulldog, because I don't feel like saying the bulldog. I guess he doesn't mind. I guess I just feel weird saying that, but Shope and the Bulldog, and they're gonna start over and callers. And I know Shope is gonna be like, I understand your feelings. They're saying that too right now. I understand your feelings. They a lot of negative input towards Joe Brady. I'm not here to cheer Joe Brady, as they say, to fail because uh, oh, I want him to fail because that wasn't my choice, and then we'll get my real choice. No, I want success, and it didn't matter what coach is behind. If even if Sean McDermott was not released, and I said it to on the X and O show. I said that also that, and of course, the question was asked, and I did. I gave the puppet that's Coach Coyote the answer to answer that question. Is what's your opinion on the? Oh, I could do it right. Why even guess what why do I even have to guess what I say when I got the transcript of all of this? I got I got the transcript of it all. Okay, first question was a basic X and O's question from what I call Sylvester, and okay, yeah. So Sylvester, it's the cat, Sylvester the cat, was asking is I guess his partner, even in the cartoons, it was his partner once in a while. But what I call Coach Coyote, for obvious reasons, there's no point in calling him what his real name is. Okay, so I asked, I'll ask her. See, this is what I said. There, I'm doing to read it from the script. I said, as Sylvester, I said this. I'll ask a question about the release of Sean McDermott. Can you give us an opinion on the release of Sean McDermott? And then I was like, okay, that's a nice question, or something like that with the Coach Coyote. And here's Coach's response. And then I stressed to say, go ahead, Coach, because it's like, it's like to like like the next voice should be Coach Coyotes, and it's going to be my voice, of course. I don't have, I don't have an idea how to get like a 3 button thing, 4 buttons. I need different voices, 4 different voices I would need to change, but it goes. Okay, so then I just pretended that, of course, that Coach Coyote was a former player. Okay, so this is Coach Coyote's response as I wrote it. I just want to say, as a former player, then player coach, then head coach, and as a former general manager, my feeling is Sean McDermott had to win the Super Bowl to keep his job. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with the decision, but if the owner wanted to release Sean McDermott based on losing the game against the Denver Broncos, I said Bronco, I don't know why. I used a singular Broncos. It seemed to me that there was a plan with Buffalo Bills general manager Brandon Bean and owner Terry Pagula. Now that's not like some conspiracy thing going down here. We're not that kind of channel here. We're just not, okay? That's just I'm saying that like there might have been this plan, like both in agreement that like, if Sean McDermott there's no, and I said oh yeah, it seems that Terry Pagula wasn't going to accept no excuses for a loss in the playoff round or Super Bowl. So it's right here. Here it is. I mean, for folks out there, I'll show it if I can right here when it goes. This is an old phone. I don't use this phone anymore. I just use it for my script. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so I wonder if the FBI can get my fingerprints off the what my fingerprints are based on that. Okay. Uh, okay. So there it is, right there. See, you can pause it and see that. See, now I just want to say that, like, I still will stick to it that, like, Sean McDermott had to win the Super Bowl to keep his job, and I think he knew that. I think he had a feeling with that, especially when he was like protesting too much. It was not. It was so un-Sean McDermott like. because he would have wanted to move on to the next season, quote unquote. Like he didn't have this thing where it's like I'm going to calm down because you know what, take a few days off or a week off and reset and start next season. He knew something was up. Okay, he just felt it. It's like maybe like saying, "Hey, um, how do it's hard. Wait, I was just about to say, how do you say? How in the heck do you even say it as a head coach? What happens if we don't win this game? Do I, do, do I still have a parking spot next season? And, it just doesn't work that way in the real world. But the feeling must have been there. And I think, okay, I found out later, okay, in all honesty, I'm not lying here, honesty is, I found out later that when that kind of question was kind of asked to the Baltimore, yeah, it's Baltimore. I was going to say Baltimore Colts for some reason because I brought up the reference about the Super Bowl back Chula. Okay, it just kind of stuck in my head for a second there. Okay, but the Baltimore Ravens owner, and he said, one more week. And that's exactly what was happening in Buffalo. Like, I understand how the passion was for Sean McDermott, for people. I understand the passion, but it's a business. Sean McDermott was paid handsomely, as they call it, to be a coach. Okay, I don't know Sean McDermott's status. That was he up for? You know what? I'm gonna ask that question. AI. I took the. I'll just ask that question. AI. Let's see. You gotta go onto a search engine first, and then you gotta press that microphone and say what? Oh, okay. Just listening. Sean McDermott's contract, was he did he have a contract next season? Okay, what's that? Okay. Okay. Did Sean McDermott have a contract next season? Okay, let's look it up. Okay. Where's my answer? Well, I asked that thinking, searching. Okay. Yes, Sean McDermott had a contract that was valid next season. The 2026 NFL 2026 20 through 2027. Okay, but then they say fired. No, I never say fired anymore. On Sports News Review, when coaches are released, people are released to their duties. I don't like the word fired anymore. I just don't like that word. It's just, there's no need for it. But he was fired. He could have said released of his duties. Okay, by the Buffalo Bills, January 19th, 2026. The Bills are still obligated to pay him a significant portion of the remaining contract, estimated to be around $60 million. Okay, so it's not about like you're on the side of the owners because you're saying, oh, look at Sean McDermott's going to get 60. Okay, let's get reality, folks. I don't if you're making more than $1 million a year and listening to me right now, or if you could be collecting $16 million next year somehow, whatever employment you're in there, as in like like stock market guru, whatever actor, movie actor, and whatever, and you're listening to this show, you understand I'm a regular person here. $16 million. That's one. I'm pretty sure it's not about the money with Sean McDermott. I understand that he did want to be a head coach. This isn't about the money when it comes to Sean. He does want to be a head coach next season. Now, that's what they got to wait for. Like, they got to wait. There's a lot of things in play. So, I mean, he's not part of the player personnel. Okay, Sean McDermott is management, so they can hire and pay out the management, ask someone like Sean McDermott that we're moving on. We're moving on to a different, whatever. We're moving on to, how do you say it politely? I'm going to say it politely, and I'm not going to say their quote about being, in charge of a sailing ship, a large vessel. I'm not going to say that word. No, no, no. That was that was, I don't know. That was someone you don't. That was something that you don't say. That was person 9 years. I know he's got ex. Does anybody realize how much Sean McDermott has made with the Buffalo Bills? And it's like, if you're a person that's just getting by, and you're gonna get mad at me as this for this program that about Sean McDermott, and like you want to say in the comments, like, I don't know, something weird, use a fake account, the burner account as they call it. I mean, like, I'm gonna be like, hold on here, Sean McDermott's gonna be fine, okay? Yes, he knew the score. I know, I definitely know he knew the score, that if he didn't win the Super Bowl, Terry Pagula was going to accept no excuses at all, not in a playoff round. And even if he made it to the Super Bowl, and well, and he lost the Super Bowl, it's like the only way that Sean McDermott would have been head coach next season is if he won the Super Bowl. And they would have brought the Super Bowl banner to the new stadium. You know, make a ceremony, maybe hang it in the old stadium, because the old stadium will still be there, because in case the new stadium is not ready for the public to just come and go, like enter, it's still in the construction phase for whatever reason, setbacks, whatever reason, they'll play in the old stadium. It's right there, they'll cross the street, they'll go across the street and play in the old stadium, hang the banner there, and then move the banner when they move to the new stadium when it's ready. But they're hoping that the stadium is ready, and they would have had Sean McDermott. And the only way Sean McDermott would have entered that building as head coach of the Buffalo Bills is if he's him and others. It would be him, Sean McDermott, and oh my gosh, I'm getting brain fog because I'm tired and can't think straight now. And oh my gosh, Josh Allen. And of course, him and Josh Allen and some other players, maybe Joe Brady, possibly, because he could. I'm just saying, walking with this giant banner to the stadium, inside the stadium, walking around with this giant banner, going, and they're gonna give it to a couple of people. They're hand it over, and it's gonna be like on some kind of strings, and they're gonna hang it up, just ceremoniously hang it up for whatever. I'm just making things up as I go along with this. Or they're just gonna have like a ceremony around the stadium, first game of the season. You know, of course, the first game of the season would be guaranteed home game. So yeah, I mean, they're gonna raised the banner, Super Bowl champions, and with Coach Sean McDermott. And that was, once again, it's not. Remember, folks, if you're out there and you're a Sean McDermott fan, I'm. That's possibly the only way he was going to keep his job. I mean, that's it. That was it. That's all. And I mean, that's it. Terry Pagula, you can tell he's in bad health. Uh, the interview, he said it too. I can't even go watch his he can't go Australia, like his daughter's playing in Australia in the Australian Open. Like 10 years ago, Terry Bagula would be all possibly all over it 10 years ago. Oh, where's the owner of the Buffalo Bills? He's watching his daughter play in Australian Open with of course. But I don't know. maybe that would have, maybe then, like, how would he would have come back and forth if his new head coach search? I don't know. We don't know. But like he's not able to go all the way across Australia and back on a whim. You know what I mean? Like he can't just go to Australia and watch his daughter play in the Australian Open and then come back to Buffalo if there's something pressing, like they're playing in the playoff round and they're going to the next round and they're playing the conference final and they're going to be going to the Super. Well, the Australians should be open by the Super Bowl, I guess. I'm pretty sure it'll be either wrapping up this weekend or next weekend. Which, yeah, because oh wait, I'm getting. Oh my gosh, this weekend is no football, and then the next weekend, yeah, I'm pretty sure maybe the Australian Open would be wrapping up, but I don't think he's even going to go to the Australian Open if his daughter's even. I don't know if she's not in the final or in the final, but yeah. So I mean, like the point about Terry Gould's health is that he wanted a Super Bowl win badly now, and he wants a Super Bowl win, uh, and just I'm just gonna say that Terry Pegula, I don't know him, obviously. Is he taking advice from this kind of sports news review channel? Obviously not. But I'm just saying that my opinion is that like he possibly didn't want to say to himself, I had Sean if they would have lost a playoff round again in next season. It's like the players they go through so much emotion through the season and it's the same outcome and yeah, I mean people would claim the opposite of this season when it would be, oh, he only wanted to save that $16 million. He didn't want to pay another coach while he's paying Sean McDermott $16 million. That's a possibility. That's a possibility that fans would have said if like the because there are fans that are, it's a polarizing issue of fans that go they let the wrong person go, quote unquote, and then there are fans that go it's a business. They made a business decision. Sean McDermott's going to be compensated for the season that he's not under contract for, and I mean $16 million. Could you imagine? Like, just think of it. Just say this was the last season for contract for Sean McDermott, and there was no contract next season. You didn't have to pay $16 million, Sean McDermott. Could you could you imagine what you could do at $16 million for the players or like whatever, like it's instead of giving it to Sean McDermott? Could you imagine what what the extras that they would have had in the locker room and the facilities and all that and whatever and I'm gonna say this is time too is that if you ever have another game, please go earlier. Don't go to the stadium on a Thursday and play on it. What is it like? Whatever it was a Friday land. Leave on a Thursday, land on a Friday. One day to practice and then play the game. No, go the right after the game. Go there. Josh Allen was. I was just thinking, Josh Allen's a young person. That was not. I know he's got money. I know he can go to England anytime he feels like that. But he's a young person who's like, hey, I would have liked to just kind of seen London, relax a bit, get acquainted with everything. That was a bad decision. So that $16 million could have be helped on a decision like that, even to like, hey, why don't just pay the hotel room for everyone, staff and everyone, and we're there earlier this time if they do play a game outside. But being that they have a new stadium, there's no way they're going to be as the home team. They're not. I don't know if they're time. I don't know what the schedule's like. But with all that though, I'll just one final thing is that the Buffalo Bills hired Joe Brady as head coach. And me personally, I just wish that the Buffalo Bills have a successful candidate and Joe Brady has a successful career. And Josh Allen is throwing a touchdown pass for a Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 61, which is in Josh Allen's home state of California. Okay, so with all that, we'll say goodbyes for yours truly and Ketchup. We'll use our old familiar catchphrase for Sports News Review that we're over. And well, sure, first thank people first. That's a mistake you should never make. And is not to thank whatever viewers you get, even if you only get one viewer. Thank you for tuning in and watching the Buffalo Bills hire Joe Brady as head coach. Uh, Breaking news. But for now, we are. That's yours truly and Ketchup behind the microphone. Both of us are saying over and out.